whole 2 minutes. I'm not used to having 10 whole minutes, usually 4 minutes or so. But I'm Dr. Lydia Powell. I am an educator. I've been an educator for 27 years. 25 of those years have been in the state of Georgia. Okay. I'm actually currently an assistant principal. So that means that I have real experience. I have experience that is current experience. As a matter of fact, I left work at noon so I could do the 4.5-hour drive here. So I mean, real experience. And so why I'm running for this office, there are 3 top priorities that I have. Priority number 1 is universal preschool education. We need to look at expanding preschool. We currently have a lottery system for our preschool education. So that if your student does not, if they're not able to get a seat in a pre-K classroom, that means you have to find another option. So when we talk about our literacy issue in the state of Georgia, which only 35% of our 3rd graders are able to pass that milestone test. Again, only 35% of our 3rd graders in the state of Georgia can pass that milestone assessment, okay? And when we look at what teachers are faced with, they're faced with remediating these students instead of giving these students a stronger start. So we need to expand pre-K in the state of Georgia. The second thing is focus on rural Georgia. Rural Georgia connectivity, ensuring that rural Georgia is able to recruit and retain teachers because they have high turnover. And so when we look at the data for the state of Georgia, like our A-grade test scores went down this year. But when we look outside of Metro Atlanta, those scores are even lower when we go into rural areas. Now, Camden County, y'all are doing an amazing job because your CCRPI score, and that's the report card for Georgia schools, is higher than the state average. All right. So your CCRPI, I believe, is at 87%. So you all have a very strong school system. However, between Camden County and Atlanta, those school systems in between are not faring as good as you are. So basically what we're saying is your zip code matters. Depending on your zip code, that's the resources you're going to get. Depending on your zip code, that's the access you're going to have to quality education. I do not believe that that is right. We have a surplus in our education budget. That budget needs to be used to help those schools that are not faring as well as Camden County schools are. Finally, the over-reliance of standardized testing. We have moved away from true college and career readiness, and so we need to give the teachers their classrooms back. We need to ensure that teachers are able to teach critical thinking skills, collaboration skills. These are the skills that careers, that jobs want to see. They don't want to know if you can do A, B, C, or D, bubble it in on the test. They want to know, can you do the job? Can you collaborate with others? Can you critically think? Can you complete a project? And finally, I want to focus on that QBE. We have a QBE formula, and that's how we fund our schools. And our QBE formula is outdated. So when you hear people say, oh, our schools are fully funded, yes, they are an outdated system. So when we look at how we fund our schools, I understand that 70% of our children in Georgia are economically disadvantaged. 70%. However, there is no poverty rate on that QBE formula. So if you're in a high poverty school, you do not get the resources that you need to be able to reach those students. And so I know the belief is that if you are a parent, you have access to the school and you're able to just go to the school and assist your student and see what's going on. But if you're working during the day, if you work 2 jobs during the day, if you don't have the transportation, that doesn't happen. So those schools do need more resources. And if we give schools more resources for gifted and special education, we have to take into account poverty because research shows that poverty has an impact on if a student can succeed in school. And so just those are 4 basic things that I want to focus on. And that is why, instead of retiring in 3 years, I am choosing to run for to be your next state superintendent of schools, because I believe that all students should have access. I believe if we are the #1 place to do business, Georgia is the #1 place to do business. We need to also be the #1 place to educate students. We should not be in the bottom half of the nation. So I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your invitation to be here today, and I welcome any questions that you may have.